In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on February 21st, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Orlando Magic versus Phoenix Suns. Magic heading into Phoenix on a Saturday like this carries that fresh glow of a team that just broke the game for a night. Orlando is coming off a wild one in Sacramento, dropping 27 threes and winning in a 131-94 romp that felt more like a shooting video clip than a normal box score. That kind of explosion sticks in people's heads, and it does not just grab attention, it quietly nudges bettors toward the idea that the Magic are suddenly a flamethrower from deep. Here is the thing, the spread still leans toward Phoenix at home, which tells you the market is respecting the Suns' overall body of work more than one insane hot stretch from Orlando. Phoenix has shifted into a slower, more deliberate style, playing in the bottom chunk of the league in pace, and they lean heavily on defense, hustle plays, and a kind of controlled chaos on that end. Mark Williams has settled in as a real anchor in the middle, and when he is on the court, the Suns get noticeably tougher to score on, which fits perfectly with the way Coach Jordan Ott wants this group to operate. This is a team that likes to turn defense into easy chances, with activity in the passing lanes, pressure on the ball, and long athletes flying around to help and recover. On the other side, Orlando's season profile is much less glamorous than that Sacramento score suggests. They play around league average in pace, their offense and defense both sit near the middle of the pack, and their three-point shooting for the season lives near the bottom of the league. So that barrage of threes was not some new normal, it was a giant spike on the radar for a team that usually has to work a lot harder to score from outside. Add in the injury picture, with Franz Wagner sidelined, Colin Castleton out, and Jalen Suggs listed as questionable, and suddenly that roster looks thinner in terms of creation, ball handling, and spacing on the wing. Phoenix is not exactly whole either, and that is important. Devin Booker is out with a hip issue, and the injury report also features names like Grayson Allen, Cole Anthony, and Haywood Highsmith. Without Booker, the Suns' offense does dip. The numbers back that up, but they have already been living in that reality and adjusting on the fly. Jalen Green has stepped into a larger role and already flashed a strong scoring night in his first start for them, even if it came in a rough overall performance from the team. You also still have the edge of guys like Dylan Brooks and Royce O'Neal, plus that crew of long, switchable defenders that can make life miserable for ball handlers who are missing their usual outlets. So emotionally, the Magic feel like the team everyone wants to ride after that fireworks show, but structurally, the matchup leans toward Phoenix. The Suns are at home, they have a clear defensive identity, they are used to grinding out games without their star, and they are facing a Magic team that is likely to come back to earth from 3 and is missing one of its best offensive wings. That combination, short number, home floor, steadier defensive foundation, makes Phoenix the side that quietly makes more sense against the spread in this spot. As our first pick for this matchup, the Phoenix Suns to cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The total tells a very different story because it is basically hinting that both offenses are going to hum along for 4 quarters. On paper that sounds fun, but when you actually look at how these two teams prefer to play, the picture is much more about control than chaos. Orlando sits right around the middle in pace, Phoenix is even slower, and both teams lean into half-court possessions where you have to work through set defenses instead of trading runouts. Orlando is having one of its better offensive seasons by rating, which is true, but we are still talking about something closer to middle tier than juggernaut. They manage that despite being near the bottom of the league in three-point percentage, which is exactly why that 27-3 game in Sacramento screams outlier more than new identity. Taking that one night and pretending it is the rule would be like assuming a stock is stable based on one wild trading day. The absences matter even more when you think about the total. No Franz Wagner means one less creator and scorer who can bend a defense and keep actions flowing. Jalen Suggs being questionable with back spasms adds another layer of uncertainty to their ball handling and overall offensive rhythm. If he is not fully himself, even if he plays, that ceiling on fluid offense drops a bit. Phoenix on the offensive side is dealing with its own cap. No Booker pulls a lot of shot making and on-ball creation off the floor, and when he sits, their offensive efficiency takes a hit. The defense, however, stays strong, which usually drags games into more physical, lower-scoring territory. This is a group that thrives on steals, extra possessions from the offensive glass, and limiting fast break opportunities for opponents, which is great for winning gritty games but not great if you are cheering for a track meet. Orlando's recent stretch of higher scoring results can tempt you to think the script has flipped long-term, but when you zoom out, both teams still carry modest net ratings and styles that lean more toward competitive grind than free-flowing festival. The current total feels like it is still giving some extra respect to that Sacramento explosion and to earlier hot shooting stretches from a healthier Suns group, rather than this specific version of both teams with these injuries and this pace profile. There is always a path where whistles pile up, free throws stack, or someone just catches absolute fire again. That happens in the league, but the more likely script with these rosters and these styles points toward a game that lands below the number rather than racing past it. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Philadelphia 76ers versus New Orleans Pelicans. The Philadelphia 76ers head to the Smoothie King Center to face the New Orleans Pelicans on Saturday, and it comes at a pretty touchy moment for both groups. The matchup looks straightforward on paper, but the context around it gives it a different weight. The 76ers are skidding a bit, with losses to the Hawks and Knicks recently, and the Timberwolves waiting for them next on the schedule. They have dropped 4 of their last 5 games, and that kind of stretch can rattle confidence, especially for a team that expected to be more secure in the East by now. Their spot in the standings is fragile, with teams like the Magic and Heat hovering close behind, and that 6th seed feels more like a cliff edge than a cushion right now. New Orleans is not exactly cruising either. The Pelicans are coming into this one after losses to the Heat and Bucks, and they have the Warriors on deck next. They have dropped 20 of their last 27 games, which is the kind of run that wears on a locker room and a fan base alike. They are also on the second night of a back-to-back, and that is rarely a gift, especially when the opponent is desperate for a response. The injury picture adds another layer. The 76ers remain without Joel Embiid, which is still a big hole, but at least they know it and can plan around it instead of hoping for a late clearance. He has already been ruled out with a lower leg issue, which forces the coaching staff to build fully around Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe as primary engines. On the other side, the Pelicans are watching Trey Murphy III, Yves Missy, and DeJounte Murray, all of whom could be in play for a return. That kind of uncertainty usually means you keep one eye on the injury report right up until tip-off. New Orleans being without their leading scorer Trey Murphy III has been brutal so far, as they are winless in 5 games without him and sit at a point differential of -61 over that stretch. Historically, the Pelicans have a slight edge in the head-to-head series, but most of those wins came in earlier years when the health situation was friendlier than it is now. The more relevant data point is the meeting from about 3 weeks ago, when Philadelphia went into this matchup and left with a 124-114 victory. The Pelicans actually got an unexpected explosion from Saddiq Bey in that game, as he poured in 34 points and kept them afloat far more than anyone expected. The question hanging over this rematch is simple. Can he realistically put together that kind of performance again, and can the Pelicans stay within reach if he does not catch fire a second time? From a situational angle, the urgency feels heavily tilted toward Philadelphia. They have gone 6-2 straight up in their last 8 games against Western Conference opponents, which suggests they handle these cross-conference spots fairly well even with their recent wobble. New Orleans, on the other hand, has managed only 3 wins in their last 12 home games, which drains some of that usual home court aura. They have also failed to cover in 7 consecutive games against Eastern Conference teams, which is not exactly a ringing endorsement if you are considering backing them. The 76ers have hit a rough stretch, and it is understandable to hesitate about laying points with a team that has only 1 win in its last 5, especially on the road. The problem is that the Pelicans are struggling even more, and the combination of poor form, back-to-back fatigue, and lineup questions makes it tough to trust them. Philadelphia already showed it can win this specific matchup by double digits, and even with Embiid sidelined, there is a strong sense they are out of excuses in this spot. They badly need a feel-good performance to reset the mood, and facing a slumping Pelicans squad on short rest feels close to ideal. If the 76ers cannot take care of business here and cover a reasonable number, then it may be time to give them a very skeptical look going forward. As our first pick for this matchup, the Philadelphia 76ers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Philadelphia 76ers are averaging 116.2 points on 46% shooting and allowing 115.9 points on 47.1% shooting. They are hitting 35.6% of their threes and 81.6% at the free throw line, which quietly matters a lot in higher scoring games, since those trips to the stripe finish off possessions cleanly. They allow opponents to shoot 35.5% from deep and they pull down 43.3 rebounds per game, which helps them keep possessions alive but also signals that their games see a healthy number of shot attempts on both ends. The New Orleans Pelicans are averaging 114.6 points on 46.2% shooting and allowing 120.4 points on 47.8% shooting. They are knocking down 34.5% from 3 and 78.5% at the line. Defensively, they allow 35.4% from beyond the arc and are grabbing 43.6 rebounds per game. When you put that together with their recent form, you get a picture of a team that can score but also gives up plenty of points, especially when defensive focus slips or legs get tired, as can happen on a back-to-back. Games with both teams in this kind of statistical band tend to drift into higher totals because neither side consistently clamps down on the perimeter and both are comfortable playing at a steady offensive rhythm. The previous meeting finished 124-114, and while that does not guarantee a repeat, it is consistent with what the numbers suggest these rosters produce when they face defenses that are not airtight. With both teams sitting in that range of scoring and conceding, and with free throws and three-point shooting at decent levels on each side, a contest that leans toward the higher side in total points makes a lot of sense. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Sacramento Kings versus San Antonio Spurs. The Sacramento Kings and San Antonio Spurs meet on Saturday at the Moody Center, and it feels like two teams heading in totally different directions. The Kings are coming in off losses to the Magic and the Jazz, and they already have the Grizzlies waiting for them next, so there is not exactly a soft landing spot on their schedule. They have not won a game since January 16th, and that kind of skid starts to seep into confidence, even if everyone keeps saying the right things in the interviews. On the other side, the Spurs just handled the Warriors and the Suns, and they get the Pistons after this, which makes this stretch feel pretty manageable for them. They have taken 12 of their last 15 games, and that kind of run usually brings a relaxed, almost loose energy into a matchup like this. The Kings are still shorthanded, with Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeAndre Hunter all ruled out, and that is a heavy chunk of talent to be missing. The Spurs have a shorter injury note, with Mason Plumlee out and Lindy Waters III sitting as questionable, so they are dealing with issues too, just not on the same scale. The Kings look like the coldest team in the league right now, and while it is easy to blame the injuries, the truth is their problems were bubbling all season long. The Spurs, in contrast, are coming in scorching, fresh off another blowout win, and that does matter when you are trying to forecast how comfortable a team might be playing with a lead. These two already faced each other once this season, and the Spurs took that one by a 123-110 score back on November 16th, which quietly hints at the gap between them when things tilt their way. This time around, it is easy to imagine an even more one-sided game, especially with the way the Kings have been sliding and how good the Spurs have looked for weeks. Even so, big spreads can get weird late, especially if the leading team eases off the gas and starts thinking about the next game on the calendar. The Kings, for all their issues, still have enough pieces to string together a late offensive burst against second units, and that kind of flurry can turn a comfortable result into a suddenly tight margin against the number. As our first pick for this matchup, the Sacramento Kings to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Sacramento Kings are averaging 110.1 points on 46.2% shooting while giving up 120.6 points on 49.4% shooting, which paints a picture of a team that is constantly playing from behind and stretching itself just to keep contact. They are hitting only 34.2% from 3 and 77.3% at the free throw line, so even when they do get looks or generate trips to the stripe, the payoff is not always as efficient as it could be. They are grabbing 41.3 rebounds per game, which is serviceable, but it does not scream overwhelming control of the glass, especially when shots are not falling cleanly. The San Antonio Spurs bring a stronger offensive stat line at first glance, with 118.1 points per game on 47.7% shooting, while allowing 112.2 points on 45.6% shooting. They are knocking down 34.7% of their threes and 78.4% from the free throw line, which nudges them a bit ahead in shooting reliability. They are also pulling in 46.6 rebounds per game, a clear edge on the boards that should help them manage second-chance looks and limit extra possessions. Looking at all that, the raw averages suggest the potential for a high-scoring game, especially with one side regularly giving up around 120 points and the other side sitting near 118 on offense. However, the current version of the Kings is not the same as the healthier, more stable group that built those seasonal numbers, especially without Sabonis, Levine, and Hunter on the floor. Missing that many key pieces often drags down offensive rhythm, slows execution in the half court, and leads to more empty trips, even if pace stays reasonably high. The Spurs, while capable of putting up big totals, are also facing a team that is struggling to score cleanly and that can get stuck in long stretches of inefficient possessions. That combination of one side defending just well enough and the other side lacking firepower, plus a possible late-game stretch where the leading team leans into clock management more than fireworks, points toward scoring landing lower than the season averages might initially hint. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.